Well, hello. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. I'm Mike Affelberg. I'm your host with United Way. And, this show is about bringing to the community some of the businesses that we partner with, who also partner with a lot of other nonprofits, give back philanthropically, and are just great local businesses that we like to spotlight and highlight. So I'm excited today to be with Derek from Eaton and Berube Insurance. Derek, welcome to our show.
Mike, thanks for having me. Appreciate
Absolutely. Now, you guys have been partners of ours for many, many, many years. I don't know how long. How long have you been with Eaton and Berube, Derek?
I joined the team back in 2019, and
Good timing! Like 5 minutes before the pandemic started.
yeah. I got a crash course in
Yeah.
in insurance right before that, fortunately.
And this is what it's like to work from home.
Yeah,
Congratulations to you.
yeah. I didn't anticipate that.
Yeah,
that's
I
for
think
sure.
nobody did, Derek. That's for sure. And you're an account manager, right? So
Yeah, account executive, account
okay,
manager.
there you go. Okay, what does that entail at Eaton and Berube?
Yeah, so my role is I work with businesses from around the community to help meet their insurance needs and, their implications for their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys have been doing this for many years. I know Mark very well. You guys are great community partners, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. But the first thing I want to talk about is your last name, because we talked about this a little bit before the show started. I terribly mispronounced your last name because I tried to say, how do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Dutch. It's very Americanized,
Yeah.
though, but we pronounce it Brunage.
Brunage. So if you asked me to phonetically spell Brunage, it would not be what I would say because it's Braunuga or something like that, which you said means Brown Island.
Yes. You
Nice.
say it a lot better than I can.
I absolutely cannot say it better than you could, but I appreciate people with German and Dutch, and I have one of those names myself. So anyway, so your business that you do is primarily business-to-business insurance,
Right.
and your client portfolio, your typical clients are, describe them to me.
I kind of a generalist. I like working with businesses from all walks of life. I have a lot of history in nonprofit work.
Yeah.
So I really do enjoy working on insurance related to that. Machine shops, small mom and pop shops. There's a lot of different variety in insurance, and you
Yeah.
can, it's easy to find something you enjoy doing and helping those people out with it.
Well, I can say that in the nonprofit world, ours as well as others, a lot of it has to do with some basic things like officers, like D&O and type insurance. And a lot of it's your basic business insurance, like, if you have a building, you own, real estate, you have tenants, all of that is just what normal businesses do, right?
Right.
And then we do events, a lot of events. And that's probably the unique space of a nonprofit, I would imagine.
Yeah, events, and every nonprofit, there's not one, one size fits all. Everybody does something differently. So it's fun working with, you guys, for instance, and trying
Fun, that's a good word, how people in the insurance industry always describe trying to insure something like over the edge, rappelling
Right.
off the top of a building.
Now, that sounds from an insurance standpoint like a nightmare, but we make it work.
You make it work. Absolutely. You really do. You do a great job. And I will say, so just a little bit of recognition. You guys are partners and sponsors of ours. You do help to insure the Over the Edge event for us. You also are partners with us in our Days of Caring, which is a great way for your staff to get involved with volunteering, which is also really terrific. And you also partner with us on our Nashua Nor'easter, which is our running / walking and / riding in your car event, which we have coming up. So lots of different stuff like that. And you also do a workplace campaign as a company as well, where
Yep.
employees get the opportunity to give back through their payroll. So you're kind of hitting it on all cylinders, I'd say.
Well, I know Mark, when he took over the agency, he
Yeah.
had a real focus on giving back to the community that I think my coworkers and I really help perpetuate. It's always nice working with you guys among some of the other nonprofits in the community and making the community better.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. and you do a great job for us as well. So, were you in the insurance industry before joining Eaton and Berube?
No, actually, I came from the nonprofit world. I was a social worker, child protection for DCF down in Lowell.
No kidding. I did not know that.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. That's a big switch.
Yeah, that the big difference. Big difference. So,
And did you enjoy that type of work?
I really did. I got to work with a lot of great kids, a lot of great families.
Yeah.
And it just came to a point where it was my time to move on.
It's rough. It's hard work. It's hard work. I see a lot of people in the social services field, in particular, client facing, and absolutely in the world of youth services. And it's just hard. You come across stuff that you just shouldn't. It just shouldn't be there, but it is.
Right. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize the things that go on, but just because we have a tendency to block it out or whatnot. But a lot of those people come from good places that are just down on their luck or
Just rough.
yeah. But it was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Congratulations for doing that. Anytime somebody says that they have a social work background, I'm always very impressed. It's because it is very, very difficult work. Now I know you have a branch up at Eaton and Berube on Concord Street. Is that right?
Yes.
Is that the only location in the Nashua area?
No, we actually merged with Davison Toll out of Concord, New Hampshire.
Okay. Now, Davis and Toll, I know they have, I think, a location out in the Milford area on Amherst Street, or is that no longer there?
No, we that was our previous location.
Okay.
And then we moved, I want to say around 2009 to Concord Street.
Okay.
But there is another Davis and Toll office somewhere on Amherst Street. And
Okay.
a couple other ones scattered throughout New Hampshire.
And how is that? Has that changed a lot for you, or do you see it's just more resources?
It's been great. The Davis Toll family, they're wonderful people to work with. It's a, good community to be in. I enjoy working for them. It's been good business-wise. It's opened up a lot more doors for our clients. More markets for us to explore and more solutions to find for their businesses. So.
Yeah. Now, you're an independent insurance brokerage,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So explain what that means as opposed to somebody who works for a company that has its own sort of products.
Sure. Let's take, United Way. You have some insurance needs. You come into an independent agent, and we have access to several different insurance companies that we can go to and essentially say, hey, this is what they do for nonprofit work. We need to get them insured. And, we collect information from you guys, take it to the insurance carrier, work with them to provide a comprehensive product.
Okay.
And present that to you, and then we decide what the best fit is for. Moving forward.
So you kind of have the option to sort of shop the market on your client's behalf.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of research, I'd imagine, involved with that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So and nonprofits are a lot of fun because, like I said, one size doesn't fit all. So trying to piece together everything that you guys might need, as opposed to maybe the front door agency might be a little bit different. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have places where people live. That's a different animal. We don't. They don't have events that involve high risk of bodily harm. I have to tread lightly on this one. Yeah. Low risk of bodily harm that feels like it could be high risk of bodily harm. I don't know what we want to say to that. But different, right, very different. So, and businesses are probably the same as well. Do you have a sweet spot besides the nonprofit world? Is there like what's your favorite? If somebody walked in and said, I am an attorney's office, or I'm a dentist, or I'm a retailer, or where do you find is your sweet spot?
Sure. It's a great question, and I do really enjoy working with technology-based businesses.
Okay.
The tech industry is advancing so rapidly in a multitude of different ways. And one of the biggest things that we see nowadays, which I'm sure you've heard of it, but cyber insurance.
Well, that's exactly one of the questions I wanted to ask you about. So if we can already talk about that if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so we all worry about cyber crime, right? And which comes in, this is a very broad category of crime. It comes in lots of different flavors, but we've all heard about things like ransomware, companies that have been held hostage for their data, just viruses and very malicious kind of virus attacks through the internet. So how do you go about anticipating those risks from an insurance point of view and insuring those?
Yeah, it's a very, very complex market, let alone risk. It's something that we see every year has changed drastically in the scope of, how do you protect your business? How do you protect your identity, all your sensitive information? You hear a lot of stories of these big companies, they've lost your data. Well, what does that mean? It's hard to say. For a business or a nonprofit, for instance, it's difficult, to get to make sure that you're properly protected. So cyber insurance steps in and helps protect you from those malicious attacks. Where they cyber extortion, where they might lock you out of your systems and demand payment. Those phishing emails, I'm sure you get all the time.
I do, and so my practice, my policy, the way I insure myself against that is I just don't click on them because they're usually pretty obvious. But I also work with colleagues, like there's some of these are very clever, and they really do look like as advertised. So what does the insurance look like? It's a separate policy for this, or if I say, well, I have my normal business insurance, I must be covered.
Yeah, we're really pushing for our clients to explore standalone insurance policies, something separate where it only specifically, protects related to cyber liability. It's become such a complex, problem that a lot of businesses have a simple endorsement on their package or their policy that provides some small, usually small limit of insurance, but there's really not much there to protect you. It might be $10,000 or $15,000.
Yeah.
A lot of the times these claims are $50,000, $100,000. Depending on the size of the target, it could be millions of dollars. And banks are paying out billions every year out of company accounts to pay for ransomware attacks and extortion, things like that. So it's scary.
So you like working with companies to kind of figure out, navigate that landscape? Is that when you enjoy that work? What is it that you really like about that?
It's going to sound kind of odd, but coming from a social worker background, I was in there working on solutions for these families, figuring out what they need and how best to help them get to where they ultimately would be in a better place. I've kind of taken that model and put it into insurance where, everybody needs insurance.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure you're getting exactly what you need? And it differs from person to person. So I really enjoy putting this puzzle together, to cover them as best as they can. It's entertaining to me. And
interesting.
And it's kind of a different spin on helping somebody.
Yeah, well, and it's certainly, I think, sadly, not going to go away, and probably going to get more complex.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because this stuff is just getting more sophisticated all the time.
Oh yeah. We see, there's news articles, things we've never heard of coming out. It seems like weekly, and it's these people get very creative with how they want to pursue your data and all the sensitive stuff that your business has. So.
Now, are there pieces of business that don't fit you well? Things that you don't, which you would refer out that wouldn't make sense for you to take on?
Sure. I'm a property and casualty guy, so it's, liability, property, things like that. I don't do health insurance.
Okay.
All that stuff is kind of out of my realm of expertise. So, anybody who comes to me for that, I usually refer to a friend or, somebody I trust really well to handle it.
Okay. That's good to know as well. And I'm sure that you have probably good, relationships within the industry to help make that happen.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So, as far as getting involved with the community, let's talk about you personally. What are some of the ways in which you like to sort of give back?
Yeah, when I left being a social worker, I kind of I needed to fill this void that I had. I really enjoyed the type of work I was doing. I just needed to change. And joining Eaton and Berube and the Davidson Toll Group has been great because they really push us to get out there and get involved in the community. And I've found another calling where I've joined the Front Door Agency as a board member.
Wonderful.
Which has been fantastic.
Yep.
Their mission is very similar to the population I used to work with as a social worker. So I really get what they're doing. I've lived through that stuff. I've been through it. They're a wonderful organization and they're well run. So it was kind of a no-brainer when they approached me and wanted to know
Plus, you
if
don't
I
have to
joined.
walk far to go to board meetings.
Yeah, that's helpful. I don't really like to walk that much. So
Well, you don't even have to you don't move your car. You just walk across the lot.
Exactly.
Usually I try to make my meetings so that I can meet with Bridges and then Front Door and then you guys and not have to walk more than 5 feet.
It's a good place to be in right there. There's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
going
for sure. Absolutely. That's hilarious. Well, Front Door is a great organization and good partners of ours, and we appreciate the work they do in the community as well.
Yeah, the staff, the people, the clients are all fantastic. They
Absolutely.
do an amazing job.
Now, as a board member, you've been on the board for how long?
A little under a year at this point, I would say.
What would you tell a new board member, somebody thinking about getting involved with an organization, to expect?
It's tough. There's a lot to learn.
Because I know what I would tell them, and it would probably be very different.
Oh, I would definitely be interested in hearing your opinion. I would say, it's going to take some time to understand how, a board works. There's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions because, as a new guy, I was lost when I first started. And, a lot of the other board members did a really good job of picking up on that, stepping in, helping out, making sure that I felt included, where, some of these people have been on it for, 20 years. So they know how things go.
Right.
So don't get discouraged, I'd say, if you don't understand.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I mean, what I would say is that, because I do have these conversations with people, and it's not just about the United Way board, it's about boards in general. One of the things we try to do is just to serve as a connector. So I have referred people to lots of different boards, including the Front Door. And what I will always start with is I will say, a little bit like, what's your passion? Is there a cause that really speaks to your heart? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to keep you coming back to that organization. And then I'll ask a little bit about, so what do you think you bring to the table? Do you have a specific expertise? Are you organized in a certain way? Do you have technical skills that you might lend? Like, for example, if a person is an attorney or an accountant or something along those lines. Those are the questions. And I will say, to what extent also you're looking for a board that's going to look to you to do work, because there are working boards and then there are not working boards. And like our board is, don't come to me if you're not going to roll up your sleeves, because everybody needs to be pulling in the same direction. But there are some boards where you're just really there in kind of more of an advisory capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's different, but Front Door, it's your hands are in it. You're
rolling up your sleeves.
Oh yeah,
which is wonderful, and that actually really reflects very well on Maurice and the staff there, because you have to trust the people who are around you to do that. right?
Absolutely. Big team effort. That's what all nonprofit work is.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a difference if you're not working together. And it's been quite a learning curve for me coming from the social work aspect of stuff. Whereas board work is a lot different. So it's been fun to kind of realign myself into a position where I can use my experience and
Yeah.
help develop the program and with my own input, which is great. And they do a wonderful job of, like I said, making me feel included and incorporating everyone's ideas into different things. And
Yeah. Now, have they tried to recruit you into Rotary yet?
I was in Rotary for a bit.
Oh, really? Which one?
The Nashua over at
Oh, yeah, me as
Nashua
well.
Country. Okay.
Yep. I'm in
Yeah.
Rotary with Mark now in the Nashua West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been over there a couple of times.
Yeah.
I enjoy going.
Yeah.
As to be honest, being a young professional, still trying to.
It's a lot.
It's a big time commitment having so many things. And I was talking to my wife, and ultimately, I said I got to step back from a few things and just
Sure.
eventually build my way up to being able to be in all these things.
I agree with that. Absolutely. I think I myself really resisted joining Rotary for a long time because I didn't want to join as a business proposition. I wanted to join as a personal commitment. And, there are lots of things that, that we're involved with that are professional commitments that have nothing to do with, you wouldn't choose personally. Like, I'm involved a lot with the chamber. Mm-hmm. I'm an ambassador. I've been on the board. I love that work, but that's not really service work, right? That's 100% related to building your business and your connections related to your business. Whereas Rotary, I think, is something which really has to come from the heart.
I think we share a similar philosophy. I want to be able to devote a lot of my time to give back, and I approach these things not really in a business sense, like you were just describing. It's I want to get out there and use my personal time and efforts to help better the community.
Well, and you've got Mark around. I imagine Mark's a good mentor with these types of things.
Absolutely. He is. It's been a joy working under him. He's a really great guy.
So what's next? What's the next thing for you and for Eaton and Berube from your perspective?
That's a great question. I haven't given it a lot of thought other than, just keep working hard, helping out in the community. Mm-hmm. Have some personal goals. My wife and I just got married almost 2 years now.
Oh.
It feels like yesterday.
Well, it was a pandemic marriage.
Yeah.
Sounds like. Was
True.
that 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you get married in 2020?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 21. I'm not that great at math. I apologize.
my daughter got married in May of 2020.
Okay.
And they were planning a February wedding, and then the pandemic hit. And they were going to go somewhere. It was going to be like a destination time of a wedding. It ended up being, Dad, we're going to stay home, and we want you and Mom to plan it, and you to marry us. Well, okay, honey. Well, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, but sure.
Yeah, we, all that time kind of meshed together when we were all cooped up at home. We got lucky, and my wife and I met at St. Anselm College.
Wonderful.
We've been together for 11 years now, and we, fortunately found a lull in the pandemic where they were allowing, ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah.
So, we had family and friends, and we were able to get married up there. It was great.
That's fantastic. That wasn't the original plan, though, I imagine.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Oh, really? So you just
we
did it the
really
way you
lucked
wanted
out.
to do it.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, we're just about out of time. I did want to say thank you to you. Personally, you've been a great supporter. I love the work you're doing for the Front Door Agency. They are just a terrific organization and kind of exemplify some of the best of our community. So thank you for that. And, at Eaton and Berube, that can be great work and really a great way to give back to the community as well. So I guess one last question I had was when you joined Eaton and Berube, was their company philosophy and the way they give back to the community any part of the conversation and any part of what attracted you to work there?
Definitely was. When I came on board and was interviewing and meeting with Mark and Ryan and Scott, it was very much a part. They were really interested in my history and what I brought to the table, and Mark has, as you know, has done a lot of work with nonprofits. He contributes to Meals on Wheels and among other things. And so having that conversation was a lot of fun because it was something that him and I could relate on, and it was something that we could work together on, helping businesses and nonprofits in the community with my added expertise.
Right.
So
I think that hits it almost the nail right on the head. I think that employees, especially a younger generation of employees, which I hope you don't mind me saying, compared to me, you are a younger generation of employee. I think there's an attraction to businesses that have a social component, that give back to the community where they live, where they work, where they're trying to build a family. And I think ultimately not just attracting, but retaining employees. If you're an employer who does that, you're going to have a better luck at having really top-notch employees in your fold.
Yeah. It's just community is everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I agree. Well, thank you for that. Listen, I brought you a gift.
Oh,
it's a baseball cap from the United Way.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Can I put it on now?
You certainly can.
Oh, great.
I wanted to thank you, Derek, for coming on the show today and talking with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. And I'm going to say, you've been listening to another episode of Living United with Nashua Business. I've been talking with Derek, an account executive from Eaton and Berube Insurance. We will be back in a couple of weeks with another episode. Until then, please remember the golden rule at United Way, which is be kind to one another, because great things really do happen when we live united.